volunteer organization here on campus, has set this up and invited CSUN students to have a night of simulated homelessness, to sort of walk a mile in another person's moccasins. The sun is going down and it's starting to get chilly. It's going to be an all-night adventure. Can't wait to see how it turns out. Let's get signed in. With the snacks and the guest speakers and the portable toilets, I have a feeling the night is going to be pretty survivable.
What's your first name, please?
Paul?
You signed in online?
Yes, I did.
You actually need to sign in on the next table. Okay, sorry.
Alphabetical, okay.
No, it's not alphabetical. It's not if you're not on the list. Oh.
I'm going to have to go back to my home. Can't have that. So they have what they call an honor code, and they trust that we will not bring or use a certain list of items during the event, including absolutely no alcohol, drugs, or cigarettes, which I would think would be a big part of my life if I was a homeless guy. Where did the inspiration come from?
We just like volunteering.
Yeah.
We were orientation leaders, so we like being people.
Yeah.
So we're just like, oh, let's do the volunteer program.
Yeah. And we heard one of our friends told us about like, oh, there's this survive the night thing going on. Like you spend the night on campus as like a homeless person. So we really like that whole like role-playing idea. I mean, reading about it is one thing, but to actually experience it, like, it just seemed like really.
Like be homeless for a night. That's really cool, I think.
We'll appreciate our lives more once this is over. Yeah.
You have quite a collection of blankets here, different colors, exciting patterns. You're the most colorful homeless people, I think.
Yes. I feel like if we experience this, then we'll be more able to like go out and help.
The crowd's filling in a little bit. I don't know, what do you think? We got 100 people here, maybe 150?
You know, we got people shivering. Anybody with frostbite? Frostbite? No?
Not yet.
Can you feel your earlobe? That's the true sign. Can you feel the earlobe? CSUN campus has celebrated over 50 years of being here. Never once has any student done what you're about to participate in tonight. That's right. That's right. You can make some noise. You can make some noise. We're going to be here for a while, so you might as well enjoy it, okay? I don't think anybody would disagree that there's a need to help the homeless. But how many people are actually willing to step up and do something about it? Chances are when you leave tomorrow morning and you've survived the night, you'll realize that we can't allow any other human being to live this challenge on a daily basis. One day is all it takes. We have 3 different locations with boxes. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn these boxes into actual living communities.
Let them know they have to wait. Excuse me?
Oh, hold up. I didn't even see them. They're slick. Hey, you, get back over here. You don't get first dibs like that, but nice try. Let's see, this is what, Kappa Gamma Gamma? Okay, Kappa Gamma Gamma are some cheaters. Who else? Come on up. Just kidding, yes.
I was just trying to survive the night.
Go ahead and take your boxes. Go ahead and get to work.
Get a good box.
What do you think? We're the good boxes. Yeah, it looks like the best 3D home building materials have been grabbed already. It's going to be cold out here tonight, but it's not going to be raining. It's not going to be snowing. So it's not going to be windy, I don't think. So the need to be out of the elements is not as pressing as it might be. It's a little bit like the Great Depression where they would wear a barrel with suspenders on, right? There are some people trying to build massive Eiffel Tower structures over there of cardboard. Over here we're kind of going for sort of a parquet floor, sort of an inlaid pattern. The grass is going to get wet. In fact, it's already starting to get a little damp, and I think that's probably the element that's most against us. Yeah, this is some decent cardboard here. It is. This is your French-made cardboard here. Yeah, this is your imported cardboard. There are 6 people in there. They've divided separate rooms for themselves. There must be an engineering major in there somewhere.
Yeah, it was built by a finance major.
That's hence all the paper blowing around.
You're warming up?
Doing the hobo 2-step?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. We've got the local news out here.
I actually am a student at Cal State University. So we drove out here. to be a part of it, yeah.
So you're going to hang out until the news meeting disappears, and then you're going with
CBS is coming in about an hour, so.
Oh, very cool. Was it easy to get them to come, or was it tough?
It's about harassing. Yeah. Television picked it up before newspapers did, so that's what we kind of found that was
Is it
really
something
interesting
visual?
about
By
it.
doing the PR for this, you guys felt at all like something you want to get involved in yourself?
Well, yeah, definitely. I think it's different from getting into the entertainment business because, you know, we've all worked in certain parts of it, and it's just like a lot more rewarding than it would be to be somebody's babysitter. They're a lot more thankful than a celebrity who needs you to go get their coffee or who needs you to go get their lunch.
They appreciate it.
As for me, like, I wouldn't know how it felt like to be out in the cold in the middle of winter, to be homeless, to have no money, no shelter, no food.
So will you be staying then throughout the night's event?
No.
Good practice for the drive-by media, right?
Session 6 has now begun. Go. You can do it. What are the other cliches? Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. If there's a will, there's a way.
Remember not to crowd at the end. Get your money early.
To the right of the light.
Don't be greedy.
If you so choose to eat, you will have to get a bottle or can to redeem. Now, where you get those bottles and cans, they do come from trash cans. I'm sure you've all seen here on campus individuals dig in the trash. Have you seen some? Absolutely. And what do we tend to think? That's gross. That's nasty. That's disgusting. But it's your choice. If you like to eat tonight, you can take a bottle or can over to the soup kitchen and turn it in to redeem for your dinner tonight.
Oh, it touched my face.
Just went through the food line. We've got a vegetable barley soup here, and some rolls and slices of bread. And I gotta tell you, I had the good fortune a couple of times to serve folks at the Union Rescue Mission in downtown Los Angeles. And being on the opposite side of that line, I know it's a simulation, but I felt something there, and part of what I felt was a little bit of guilt for being homeless. So you took part in the simulation.
Yeah.
So what happened? What card did you draw, and what became of it?
I was homeless, mentally ill. I had to get food, shelter, and medical care, whereas the people who were upper and middle class, they had money to start off with. I went over to see how much medical care was, and it was $10. And
$10?
$10.
I was working at the factory, making $10,
yeah,
not
they
easy.
weren't giving you $10
No.
for what you were making. They made those little bracelets, 10 macaroni beads in each.
In my factory, we were breaking them apart.
Oh.
That was the other factory.
I went 2 days without food or shelter.
Why'd you go 2 days without food or shelter?
Because the shelter only had enough food for certain people. I was the last one, and they didn't have any shelter. That was it. I was dead after the next day.
We lost one? We have a casualty?
Waiting in that line for such horrible food didn't feel very good. To actually have to live outside and wait for something like that wouldn't be very easy to go through. I mean, if it's hard for me for one night, then I can imagine if you live that way, then it's got to be terrible.
I noticed you shivering inside your sleeping bag. Are you already getting cold, Jody?
Yeah, I've been covered already.
And the night is young.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought about. I still have probably like 8 more hours out here.
Not that you're counting.
Right.
It didn't take long for this to become very much like a real homeless encampment.
Dinner was all right.
All things considered?
Not what I'm used to.
No? What did you have for dinner last night?
Last night, I went out to dinner actually. So I went to BJ's. So I had some pizza, pizookie, a salad,
What is bazooki? I've heard about that.
It's a big, warm cookie that they bring out with ice cream on top. I went out with a group, so it was about $94. Yeah.
The kind of luxury life that was.
It was great.
Compared to a styrofoam bowl with some vegetable barley soup in it.
It's really different. That I'm blessed and I don't have to live through this is great. And it really helps me think about the people that are unfortunate and make me want to help them.
We have a city here.
Yeah, it's like a city walk.
Yeah, city walk. The cardboard city walk.
This is called the Ohana Palace.
Ohana Palace.
Yep.
And where's the name come from?
Ohana means family.
In what language?
Hawaiian.
So what'd you guys think of dinner?
I wanted Chipotle.
You want it? Yeah. I'm sure a lot of homeless folks want Chipotle.
I'll be like, I'll give you Chipotle because I know how it is.
It's just really hard when you're like really at the bottom. It's really hard, like you really need help.
We've experienced what it's like in a kind of fake homeless world. But what is it like for individuals who actually come from that world?
The longest that I've ever been homeless is 14 months. And I spent most of that time beneath the west end of the Beverly Bridge, downtown Los Angeles. About 200 yards away from me, there was a 80-year-old gentleman named James who'd been on the streets for 50 years.
It was amazing. My first meeting with Philip, you heard him. I didn't know that he was homeless. Philip was living under the bridge, yet he was coming every day to our center to help people with mental and medical handicaps. One day he stopped coming to the center, and the people who worked there were worried. They started looking for him. And one day, our program aide, her name is Rita, she saw Philip on the street and she would hardly recognize him because Philip grew a beard, he was not himself, he was confused, he was dirty. And Rita said, "Philip, why don't you come to our center? At least you'll get the free lunch." At the beginning I thought that we were helping him. Then I realized he is helping us. He's helping us to live a better life, to appreciate things we have, which we take sometimes for granted.
Statistics show that over 50% of people who are homeless are also depressed. They suffer from depression. And over 30% suffer from serious mental illness at any given time.
You know, at first I thought it was kind of exciting, you know, trying to make the most out of this after my car got towed away that I was living in. I kind of looked at it as like an adventure, you know, like I was camping out, you know, and like, and the first couple nights it was kind of exciting, and you know, then I had to kind of like realize that, you know, these are not my friends and these are not my companions or schoolmates, or there was a lot of mistrust also due to my mental illness, but as well as the fact that the reality of it was there was a lot of people out there that could hurt me and would hurt me and that would steal from me, and it became frightening rather quickly.
It's really dangerous out there. My brother almost got beaten to death for his SSI check. Like people with mental illness, they get Social Security, and people on the street, predators know that, and he almost got beaten to death and he was put in a hospital for several months. And with my sister, she contracted gangrene in her foot, and she had to have her foot amputated. All those people you see in Skid Row or Van Nuys, I mean, there's somebody's baby. I mean, there's someone's child, and the family still worries so much about them. And we always hope that people will be nice and understanding to them. I hope you give them some change because they're maybe starving to death.
Usually you bring a gift to a party. Nami was gracious enough to bring a box for somebody's house to our cardboard party as well. So we want to thank you very much for that. Anybody wants an upgrade, come see me. Okay?
Like, what is your day like when you don't have a place to live?
So the entire day was spent going from one dumpster to the next. And to make that a little more interesting, I had a 90-pound Doberman with me, who was always hungry.
And actually, he was probably bringing in more money than I was, because people would see us and give me money and tell me to spend it on him.
If you have a strong sense of family and you have to, you feel like you have to help this person out, I mean, how does that feel, having to take on that burden?
The fact that I've been reunited with my brother and sister after so long, I feel like destiny has meant that I'm going to be in their life. So that means I have to see them. I mean, I feel like compelled, no matter how much I don't enjoy their company sometimes, I feel it's necessary to be in their life.
How do you maintain hope when all odds are against you?
I kind of had a tendency just to put hope on hold. In my most recent episode with homeless, I knew I was about 1.5 years away from collecting Social Security. And once I started to collect Social Security, I wouldn't be homeless any longer.
Are there places out there that can help people like you find jobs and get back on your feet?
A lot of competition for minimum wage jobs. I don't see the good jobs coming back. I just don't. I think there's a new normal here, and it's going to be very difficult on a lot of people.
I read an article that a homeless man said he was very demoralized when someone fed him his leftovers.
As far as leftovers go, I always like turkey sandwiches after Thanksgiving. Try to give them more than just the bread and the food that they're asking, and giving some dignity.
I was wondering, how do you cope with being homeless?
It's not like, how am I going to get through the day? It's like, how am I going to get through the next 10 minutes?
So how do you return to a society that dehumanizes you and says you're nothing? You come back, you work for them. How do you go through that?
I was given food and clothing far more often than I had anything taken. With the exception of the city of Los Angeles, they put up a 24-hour notice for me to move. And I didn't move far enough, so they pretty much threw away everything, including my false teeth. But I never really felt like I was the victim. I felt like I had done this to myself.
Would you suggest something like this or another form of activity?
We hope that you can take the energy tonight too and try to fight for policies that affect homelessness and people with mental illness. If you become politically active, you can make a real difference.
You all look sleepy. We're gonna be here till 6 in the morning. How about some jumping jacks? You ready? Go. Go. Go.
When you're in the proximity of incredible experiences, one of the things that can be really helpful is to actually talk about them. Talk to each other about how you're feeling about the experience you've had, how you're feeling about what it means to be homeless.
Do you think you could live like this for 50 years? Honestly?
Most people can't imagine like a week.
Exactly.
Some people can't even imagine a day. Much less.
I know a lot of, like my roommate, I asked her, you want to do this? Oh, well, look, I can do the thing in the morning, but spending the night outside, no, that's not for me.
You could read about it, but you don't really hear about it.
Well, you don't really know what it's like unless you
Exactly.
Reading about it is really good because it raises your awareness,
Right.
but it doesn't really help you say, what am I going to do about it? What's my role in this? What's my social responsibility? Tell me why you're feeling hopeless.
The night's like never ending and it's cold and there's not much really you can do about it.
I've known about it and it's something that I've thought about before. It just makes me like more kind of like pushes me over the edge, as in like I really want to do something about
Good.
it now.
So we are the wealthiest country in the world, but we have such vast poverty, increasing poverty, and homelessness. I want you to talk in your groups. Why is that?
Because we're about me, myself, and I. That's why. Everybody's about me, myself, and I. I can say that as part of my selfism, like that if I had to choose, if I have $10, am I going to give 5 of them to someone else? Like, we're just like that.
not everybody has that kind of attitude where it's like, you know, I want to give back because I know where I came from.
People just don't care anymore. That's why there's so many homeless people. It's very sad. You have to step on it when you get to the top.
Because everyone's so greedy. Exactly. I know.
You can get to the top without being horrible to people.
Amen, sister.
Amen. And once you get that wealthy, like, you're so far privileged, you don't even have to worry about that person.
For us, we know it's going to end in the morning, so we're taking it, but for the people, it's never going to end. And when you have that feeling, it's like going and going and going on. This is so hard. I don't know how to live.
If we're going to get rid of poverty, we need to get rid of capitalism.
Some of them are born into those situations where, like, that's all they know. And so it takes people like us to show them that there are other things out there. You know, you can't hand them like everything in the world, but each step, you know, something's going to help them out.
It's like that guy said, how he couldn't trust anyone on the streets, and that's something we can't really experience here because, you know, we're such a tight community. And we do have friends helping us, you know, every step of this process. And that's something that it's not like that on the streets.
It's a question of morals, sort of, and in reality, is it really ever okay for someone to be homeless? And we were saying that it's not, because it's our responsibility to help people that are under.
A belief in this American dream that, and if you work really hard, you can make it. Now, I'm not trying to say don't work really hard, but we also know that people can work really hard all their lives and not make it. But what that dream does is it covers up what it is that's actually causing people to not make it. And it's not the individual, it's usually the systems that disadvantage, disenfranchise, and don't allow people access to education today, access to health care. The largest number of people who are becoming homeless today, there's two groups: the people who lost their homes through the mortgage crisis, and then the second one is people who can't afford their health. They're sick, and they've got huge health care bills.
Even if it partially is their fault, even if they've made, you know, a few bad decisions, I still don't feel like it's okay for them to be homeless.
We should actually be taking care of other people. Not just out of our altruism and our interest, but what happens when we have high levels of poverty, when people are out of work, when they're homeless? Crime, all sorts of, the social fabric deteriorates, which has an impact on everybody.
Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. This is not a way of life at all. It is humanity hanging from a cross of iron.
So, pack it up and bring it to land and get back in.
We're just trying to be warm. That was the main goal.
Is it succeeding? Because you're huddled up pretty nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. The sense of community is strong.
I think a lot of people went home, they couldn't handle the coldness.
I think a few. I did see a few peel away. Yeah.
I'm personally exhausted. I mean, I've been up
I'll
early
bet.
in the morning, but I mean, it's like fun. Like I've never done like anything like this before. I've never heard of anything like this before. So I mean, I'm proud to be like part of the volunteer program and getting involved now.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah.
Shivering a little bit?
Yeah.
Somehow keeping it together?
Yeah, trying.
It's really freezing cold, and I really do not know how people get through this, but they are troopers.
You guys are gonna make it all the way through the night, you figure?
We'll do it awake, not sleeping.
Well, maybe you'll reach that point of total exhaustion and you may nod off for 20 minutes or so.
Because
with a
we
little
might
luck.
not wake up. It's too cold. Good, he's the buddy system on this one.
Oh, you can feel the waves radiating out of the heat tent here. How you holding up?
We're in the heat tent. So
Yeah, a lot of smiles in here. See a lot of smiles in here. How you feeling?
Good. Oh, that's all.
It's getting harder and harder to stay.
Harder and harder to stay?
Yes.
You feeling tempted to go home to that soft warm bed?
Yeah, my first temptation is to get my phone out of my trunk. But I say, you know, that's kind of cheating, so I'm going to leave it in there.
Kind of cheating, she said.
Yeah, oh, man. Bad for you. I would never.
And what's the second temptation?
Just to pack it up and go home.
Isn't it hot in here?
It is hot in here.
Freezing. I can't feel my feet. I think my nose fell off.
I'm not sure you even have feet anymore.
Oh no. I just really want my bed. My electric blanket is on my bed.
What do you think?
I think it's too cold to frickin' think. Aren't you cold?
Well, actually, this heat tent is really, really warm.
You must be blocking the heaters.
Getting ready to bunk down. It's almost 1:30, and a fine layer of dew has settled on our bags, which I suppose we should have foreseen, and have taken a layer of cardboard and laid on top to catch the dew. But it's our first night homeless. I guess this is the kind of thing that you learn when you're out on the street. You learn it pretty fast. Oh. It's not just practical, it's also beautiful. People have had an unsettling thought exercise. Yeah, I think it's gotten under our skin. With a thin layer of dampness that will be with us a long, long time. Now about 5:30 in the morning. Dampness has gotten into my gloves and into my hands, and so I've just got that not so fresh feeling. We are in the coldest hour probably of the night. I noticed that a number of the cardboard sheets out there are now empty. Here we see the propane tanks feeding into the heater attached to the heat tent, which is toasty warm inside. It has about 30 people sleeping or appearing to sleep, huddled up on the ground or on cardboard or in chairs, gathered together as closely as possible around the other side of this tent flap where it's warmest. This is Southern California, and yeah, it's November and it's cold, but I know I can just walk 20 feet over there and get warm. I know I can walk 200 feet over there and have a clean toilet with a hand sanitizer inside it. Or I know I can go over there and grab a little bite to eat. With all those advantages, this is too much for so many of us. So many of us have given up, thrown in the towel, and gone home and could not survive the night.
Could be worse, but I would never want to experience it.
Yeah, the point is made.
The point is made. You think it was made for the people who are here?
And for the people who left. How do we, as a nation, let this happen? This is a national disgrace. And you see that majestic flag flapping in the wind, and you think, justice for all? Are we even close? Is it a sick, twisted joke? I have said the pledge thousands of times, and listened to school children say it thousands of times. And in light of experiencing a tiny slice of what people really experience on a daily basis for whether it's weeks or whether it's months or, as we heard, decades, one can't help but think that it puts the lie to this myth we have about ourselves. At best you could say, well, let's be inspired to make that true. Because this isn't really liberty, and this kind of conditions, they aren't justice. I was talking to a guy last night about the tent city that sprung up in Sacramento, and that was for a while right near the capital, and has been moved around the city. In the capital city of the wealthiest state in America, that this kind of condition is not only tolerated but is created. We know this is the result of the subprime mortgage crisis. We know people are falling into these kinds of conditions, and yet here we are still with just talk about banking reform. They know that foreclosures are galloping and accelerating at least through 2010, and I've heard as far as 2011. So we're going to see more tent cities and more homeless villages and more nights spent out sleeping on cardboard. It's a play for us, but it's real for them. And yet our flag flies high, and our national myth goes on. It's sick. It's sick. It's wrong. And we have to do something about it. Cameraman Dan, how you feeling?
Freezing. Feel like shit.
Yes. Yeah, I can believe that, my friend. I can believe that. You're shivering.
Now it makes me really sit down and think oh, this is a learning experience. Maybe I can do something to fix this.
Now, Justin, we have survived the night here. How do you feel? How's it come out for you?
Tremendous. It was a success. Everything we planned for all these months came to fruition in a tremendous way.
Where'd you get the idea?
It just came from the understanding of a learning standpoint. Sometimes people need to learn better from doing and experiencing versus just being told.
I see people in there sleeping. How'd they get in there? Are they staffers, volunteers, or?
These are students. Oh, it's open. The building's open.
Son of a gun. Look at that. Good morning. How do you feel?
I survived the night. Based on the simulation last night, I was really shocked at how many people really thought that, homelessness just comes from being lazy.
You can't be lazy and survive this.
Right.
You have to be extremely resourceful to survive these kind of conditions.
Definitely so. Something was sparked last night that changed the thinking process, and I think it's not just going to end with this tonight, or this morning.
We need to help them out.
Nobody should have to live like this.
We need to find a way to provide support to them.
You guys?
I agree.
It's unfair to be living outside. And
especially with the 2 wars coming back, people coming back, there'll be a lot of problems.
I'm struggling, but I survived.
Yeah, how'd it feel?
Horrible. It was miserable. I was.
What'd you walk away with? I don't just mean a granola
A
bar.
A whole new outlook at homelessness. A whole new outlook.
Good morning, homeless city.
If we can get you guys to please put the boxes all the way over in the corner and then meet in the tent, we'll wrap up for about 15 minutes and then go home, okay? So get everybody.
How you doing?
Freezing cold and tired.
Yeah.
And I think I'm sick now. I definitely look at them differently, in a different perspective. And I give them respect for what they do. And I'm glad this was only temporary.
Yeah. What'd you think?
It's freezing cold. It's hard to put yourself in the shoes when someone has to do this every night.
Tired, and I guess I lost some love. I didn't think I realized exactly how hard it would be. I think I got maybe 20 minutes of sleep last night. It was really cold. It takes a lot. I don't know if I would be able to do it on a day-to-day basis. I don't know how difficult it would be. It just makes you really, admire them.
I know how to do it all the time. Yeah, one night is enough, actually.
Yeah, one night is too many.
Yeah.
It's a mind-blowing, eye-opening experience that people actually live like this every day, and it's cold. It's really cold.
That was probably the worst sleep I've ever gotten in my life. 40 minutes, one side of my body was asleep or the other side of my body was asleep. And it was extremely difficult to even move, maneuver, and I was in between this gentleman and this young lady. And in one extent, I didn't want to spoon with him. And the other extent, I didn't want to spoon with her because I don't know her either. But and my feet are literally pulsating because of the cold. It's a scary experience for those who have to experience this daily.
I could see why people would use drugs and alcohol probably to numb themselves, to be able to stay in the cold.
How do you feel after doing it for one night?
Terrible.
I just can't imagine people not having the option to, you know, avoid hypothermia.
I did? Yeah, you asked me. You asked me, did I poke you? Any of you guys missing socks?
People can only get used to it to such a degree. I'm sure they still feel pretty awful every single night. I think probably more people should probably do it. Maybe then they can step out of the comfort zone.
I was thinking I'm gonna die, seriously. It was so cold. It was very cold. And then in the morning, like 4 o'clock, our shelter fell totally. And I'm like, oh, they're doing it on purpose. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Because the noise was so loud.
And did it feel colder outside the box?
Oh, yes.
You felt an instant change?
Very cold.
One of the homeless people who actually came to speak, he said, they asked him about hope, and he said he had to put hope on hold. That's why I was like, wow, that really hit home. And I was like, that, you know, because, you know, I live my life around hope.
Was it kind of miserable in many ways?
Hell yeah.
She said, hell yeah. How many people were by themselves? Raise your hand. What was that experience like?
Well, it was way more colder than because it was just by yourself. And I started noticing like people that was by themselves started really using their boxes.